I've always been a huge fan of these Psycho films, especially the first one. I remember I first saw Hitchcock's Psycho when I was probably 8 or 9. I was watching it and I'm like, so awesome. And then when it got to the ending where you realize that Norman was his mother, that just completely blew me away. And it was definitely my favorite movie. Actually, no, it still is my favorite movie. But it wasn't until I was probably 13 or 14 I realized there was 3 sequels and a remake. Of course, I had to see them. Um, I watched the second, the third, and the fourth, but not the remake. And I'm actually kind of glad I didn't, because when I looked it up and looked at the reviews of it, there was quite a bit of negative talk about it. I found the trailer for it and I watched it. I looked at it and I'm like, the hell is this? So I ended up just never watching it. Even though I saw it had Vince Vaughn's, and I'm a huge fan of his. I thought he was hysterical in Dodgeball and Wedding Crashers. Oh god, that was so funny. But I didn't want to watch it. But I'm not saying it's a bad movie, because it's not fair, because I never really watched it. It's just the trailer didn't interest me. But but after I saw the fourth one and saw how it ended with Norman supposedly having a child, and the whole crazy thing is over. Well, about 5 years ago, I started thinking of an idea of how to continue the story for Psycho now that there's a child involved. But this was way before I even started making films, because I didn't make films. I wrote stories. I wrote horror stories. It all started when I was in high school. In English class, we were told to write a short story of anything we wanted, as long as it was appropriate. I thought of a horror story and I wrote it, and the teacher loved it so much, and so the class, and pretty much the whole damn school loved it. So after that, I started experimenting and writing more stories until it became a great big pile. Well, like I said, about 5 years ago, I was trying to think of a new idea, and I thought, what if I try to make another Psycho story? And I did. And I actually spent 2 or 3 years writing the story. It was very challenging. But one thing I should note here is my original story for Psycho 5 was kind of different from what you saw in the film, because originally Norman had a daughter rather than a son. Because I thought that would have been a interesting thing to see. And the next Psycho Bates killer would have been a girl rather than a boy. Only I didn't have any female actresses to make this movie, so I had to rewrite pretty much the whole story in the script, turning to Norman had a son instead. And I was a little eerie on trying to make the story, because, I mean, everybody knows the story of Norman Bates. I mean, it's a legend. So, knowing that, I realized there's just no use and no sense of trying to hide the fact that Nathan becomes his grandmother. I mean, anyone who knows the Psycho story and who watches my film, they're obviously going to know that. That's what the whole film is about. So I can't hide that. So I had to take a new approach. What I decided to do was, I did not want this to be a slasher film. I only wanted one person to die in my film, just one person. And since there's only going to be one person, I had to hold that off kind of toward the end of the film. because even though I prefer to do horror movies, I had to do so much more than just that for this film. I had to add things. I had to have, of course, horror, suspense, thrillers, but I also had to have drama, mystery, and comedy. I had to have those things, otherwise this wouldn't have worked. So the whole start in the middle of the film of course, it's all about Nathan learning about him. Because Psycho 5 is really about understanding the relationship between Nathan and Norman. Talking about how much of a good father Norman was, how much he meant to Nathan. Almost like forgetting about Norman's past and almost forgetting what's going to become of Nathan. Like the one scene where Nathan walks into the bedroom and sits on the bed looking at where his father used to sleep. And then he goes over and picks up the little wooden toy airplane. And on the bottom it says, "I love you, son." Just trying to create all those emotions right there. And trying to get the audience to forget of all the bad things and just feel so bad for this guy. And then, of course, learning about Nathan, knowing, of course, yeah, he loved his father and had a good relationship with his father, and loved his mother, his grandparents. Learning that he's also a football fan for that one part. And every now and then I gotta throw in some eyebrow-raising parts. Like in the first interview, when Nathan was asked if he's going to repeat what his father did, and of course he's leaning over and going, that's part of Nathan starting to go mad. But really, the only part, but where I want to show the process of Nathan going mad is officially started was after Nathan is going to bed and there's a thunderstorm, and in the dark you see the lightning flash, and you see part of Nathan. That's where I wanted to start of Nathan going mad. But because what I had to think of is how are we going to approach Nathan? Because I want to leave out everything that's in the original Psycho. No motel, no house, no nothing. But of course, the house supposedly from the fourth Psycho is burned down. But I don't want anything in the middle of nowhere. No motel or hotel, no nothing. This kid has got to be living in a normal house. So, the question is, how do I present him? But because I'm only going to be showing Nathan and no parents, I decided to kill Norman, have him dead, and but in their world, in the life of this movie, if Norman dies, that's gonna be a big news because Norman's a legend. Everyone knows about his case. So if he dies, obviously, media and press are gonna be talking to Nathan. So I decided to have someone come and interview Nathan, and that's how I decided to present Nathan for the film. This has been, without a doubt, the hardest film I've ever made. Not because it's the longest one, but because the number of characters in the film. Because I play, on average, I usually play two to three people in my films, especially my short ones. But because of this one, I had to play 6 different people. And when I'm playing a character, when anyone's playing a character, you try so hard to bring this character to life. So you got to give all your energy into this character. You got to give them 100%. But because I'm doing 6 different people, I'm dividing that energy among all of them. So it's like each character is getting 20-30% of my energy. And that just drains life out of me because I'm trying to create these characters. So it's hard when I'm trying to do a scene because I'll shoot one scene like trying to be Nathan, and then I gotta quickly change and become Jonathan, but I'm still doing the same scene. I mean, yes, I know it's me being all the characters, and the only difference is just my clothing I'm wearing to extinguish the difference between them. But I'm also trying to change the personality. Like Nathan is just one of those sweet, nice boys who doesn't do anything wrong. Loves everyone, everything. Jonathan's like no, not necessarily like one of those jock types, but it's just, what's the word? He's just like one of those whatever people. And then Andrew Loomis, he's just an asshole. And then for Mrs. Bates, she's fucking insane. And so on and so forth. So that was really hard for me, trying to keep up my energy with all these characters. It gave me, it made me exhausted, it gave me headaches. But I tried my best. As I was just finishing up the script for Psycho 5, I decided I have to make this film black and white, just like the original, because that's what this film's kind of about. It's not necessarily repeating the first Psycho. It's more like showing that Nathan is kind of on the path on repeating that. Because I didn't copy the entire film, just small things of it, like looks, like the beginning of the film, kind of like the first one, but a little different. And then I threw in some lines like, "We all go a little mad sometimes," and "I've caused you some trouble," and so on and so forth. But I decided this film had to be in black and white. There's no way I can do color, because, just like Alfred Hitchcock, he knew black and white was the way to go. Just something about it just makes it more suspenseful. Which worked out really good for me, because I got to do the same trick Alfred Hitchcock did for his film, and that's the blood. Because the part where the grandmother stabs Andrew, and Andrew spits on the door blood and drills out his mouth on the floor and it's on his face. Just like what Alfred Hitchcock did, that's nothing more than Hershey's chocolate syrup. It worked out pretty good. Yes, yeah, definitely the best blood scene I've ever done so far. I thought it looked pretty awesome. But before I get ahead of myself, I knew right off the bat I had to have some comedy in this film. So I was trying to think of some funny things to do. Like when it came to the video game, where Jonathan's going, "No, I'm sorry, I can't." And that's more of a chuckle than a laugh. But I was sitting in my desk, writing down all the factors and tactics for the film. I'm thinking, need something funny. Okay, what I had so far was Nathan and Jonathan go out for dinner and they come back drunk. Slower are the words. Stumbling and they don't know what they're doing. but I needed something. And I was inspired by something I witnessed when I was at my local mall. I was at this one store and I had to use the restroom, and so of course I went to the stall, and immediately when I got into the stall and locked it, I hear the door opening and someone else comes in. The sinks for the bathroom were right in front of the stalls, so between the little cracks in the doors, I can see the person. It was one of the workers for the store. And this is a true story. I see him approaching the sink. I hear the sound of the zipper from pants being undone. And he starts pissing in the sink. And of course, I'm covering my mouth, trying not to laugh, because it was so funny at the when it was going on, but yet so disgusting. But to make matters worse, he didn't even wash his hands. Ugh. So I thought that'd be a funny idea. So I decided to have Jonathan, drunk as a skunk, climb onto the sink and start pissing inside it. Which, again, useful to me because the phone's in black and white. All I did was take a water bottle, and I got on my knees on the counter and leaned over the sink and just start slightly pouring the drink. And I tried to do it the right way, too. I didn't just want to pour the drink. I had to make it look real. So I changed the tilt of it, the speed of how fast the water's coming out, and then like all guys do, gotta give that little shake at the end to make it even more realistic. And I thought that was pretty good. So that took care of the funny part. And I didn't do a whole lot for mystery. The only mystery parts in the film was when Jonathan is coming back to Nathan's house, right when he was getting ready to leave, and he's knocking on the door, and you see Nathan standing at the window, and just slowly turns his head, and then he's at the island playing that piano song, and then he looks up and gives that little smile. And in your mind you're thinking, what is he up to? I mean, of course, we know Grandma Bates is coming. Which leads me to Mrs. Bates. Because everyone knows the typical look for Mrs. Bates. It was the little gray wig, dress, heels, and knife. Well, I really didn't want to repeat that. I needed Mrs. Bates to do something different, something we haven't seen her do. That is what I'm all about when I'm creating a continued story for something, whether it's a remake or a sequel. I try to bring new material using old material. So I went through and created a lot of outfits. And what I decided to go with, because at this point, Mrs. Bates is no longer a mother; she is a grandmother. So I decided to go with a kind of a nightgown robe looking thing. But I chose the black wig for two reasons. One, it's all I had, and two, I thought it'd be kind of, but then I thought it'd be kind of cool looking instead of gray or, because originally I really wanted white hair, but I decided to try the black wig, and I thought it worked out pretty good. And also glasses, I thought that was a nice touch. But when it came to weapons, I mean, yes, I will have her have a knife, but she can't just have a knife. Something new's got to come. So that's when I thought of a gun, because we never seen her shoot a gun before, so I thought it'd be kind of interesting to see. So when you first see Nathan as Mrs. Bates, as his grandmother, she's not holding a knife. She's only holding a candle that's lighting her face up with that little mischievous smile. So you don't see the knife, and he's slowly walking up those stairs. You're just thinking, what's he doing? So that's when I thought when Jonathan grabs scissors, he's getting ready to stab him, blow out the candle, pulls out gun. So there was no knife involved. But then after Nathan falls over the stairs and he goes to the hospital, then there's the little interview. It kind of gives that look as if it's over. And some people might be feeling disappointed. No one died. Well, he didn't. We didn't see enough of him as grandma. Well, what they might be forgetting is the tooth at the dinner, which, by the way, that actually was a real tooth that you saw and that I put in my mouth. That was a real tooth. I'm not gonna go into detail why I have it, but just the general thing is, it was teeth that got pulled out of me when I was very little at the dentist, and for some reason they managed to stay in my house. I don't know why. I was just going through my stuff one day and I just found this pack of teeth and I'm like, ew. Wait a minute. I thought I could use them for the film. So as gross as it is, I thought it worked out pretty good. And which, by the way, that tooth did not taste very good. But then when Jonathan goes into the bathroom and throws up, which I thought was a pretty good sound effect, which is nothing more than water in my mouth down into the toilet. I thought it sounded pretty gross. But then you see that severed hand in the sink. Now, at this point, we don't know who's in that sink. So I decided to lower the audience away when Jonathan says that Nathan killed Norman. Because all this time I've been showing what a good love bond between Nathan and Norman. So you're thinking that might have been Norman. But yeah, I mean, it seems good, but it's not good enough. So I decided to reveal that later. When that psychiatrist came and he's telling the story, and when the Nathan opens the door, you find out Jonathan's boss came to talk to Nathan, and then he was the one that got killed. So that's when the knife came in. But I did change the look for Mrs. Bates at that point, because after Nathan runs upstairs to get to change and to turn into his grandmother, he didn't have a lot of time with Andrew coming after him, so that's why I left the gown unbuttoned, unlike when you first saw me dressed as Mrs. Bates. He was in a hurry. And so Jonathan's trapped in the corner, and here comes Jonathan pacing back and forth and just standing there. I decided I had to do something before I kill him. I mean, I didn't know what, but something just had to happen. And that's when I decided to use my glasses. My glasses can do a cool trick where you can bend the part that goes on your ear, you can bend to the side, and it's not going to hurt it at all. So I decided after Andrew hit Nathan, his glasses got messed up. So I thought it'd be kind of neat with them bent to the side. He'll take them off, staring at them, bend them back, put them back on, and then just screams while he's running after him. And Andrew knows there's no way out, so he'll just turn around and cower while the stabbing commences. And that's when, again, sort of a repeat from the first one. Grandma, oh God, Grandma, blood. Of course, Nathan is grabbing a trash can, but all of a sudden, Andrew comes back to life. And which is something that didn't happen in the first film, but it did happen in the fourth film a lot. But every time someone came back to life, Norman pretty much just killed them again. But this time I decided Nathan will try to help him. But that's when I had the opportunity to do something I really wanted to do, we have always heard Norman talk like his mother. We've heard it. We never really seen it, except for the third one, where he says that line. But what I did was a little different, because for those who've seen the first Psycho, if you remember that psychiatrist said that they can have both of them can have a conversation. So how does that look? How does Norman talk to his mother when he's still kind of him, and not all his mother? I thought that'd be kind of cool to show. So that's when I thought Nathan tries to help Andrew. He'll grab the phone, freaking out, and then he'll talk to his grandmother. So that's when Nathan grabs the gun and shoots him. Then when it came for the ending, again, kind of a repeat. It ended with kind of like an inside voice of Norman talking like his grandmother. And this one, Nathan's talking as himself and talking, talking about his father and stuff, and talking about how it's all over. And then the ending credits with the lines about Nathan in jail and school and Jonathan. I thought when it was all put together, it was pretty good. But do I say it's great and my best work? I'll say probably not, because I made Psycho 5 because I just wanted to make a film about his son. That's all I really wanted to do. But also because I thought it was a perfect opportunity for me to really play a really good villain, because that's what I enjoy doing. Because when I make my films, I want to try to be the villain, because that's what I enjoy doing the most, and that's what I think I'm better at compared to being the good guy or the innocent. But I just didn't feel I was as good as I was as a villain in this one, because again, so many characters, I'm dividing my energy along all of them, so I was not able to give my 100% energy for the villain. Which is why I'm hoping to do better for some upcoming films. Like I'm doing a film called Blackheart, which is going to be a remake of Can I Come In? To which I will get to pretty much put all my energy into one character, because I'm working with Horrorflix 18. Because I decided to ask him if he's willing to be the star in it, while I can only focus on the villain. So I'm hoping I can do better in this one, which the film is still I'm still writing the script for it, so it'll be out later. I definitely knew that we got to hear Mrs. Bates talking, but I couldn't pull it off, and I wasn't even going to try because I know I couldn't. So that's when I turned to my good friend Patrick Ferguson, the incredibly talented voice actor. He's just so awesome. I mean, I was a little eerie asking him at first, because I'm asking him to do an old lady voice, but I have confidence he can do it. And he said he'll send me a test video, and when he did, I watched it, I'm listening to it, I'm like, son of a bitch, he pulled it off. And really good. I thought it was perfect. The voice alone I thought was kind of creepy, but when you added on to me mouthing it with the facial expressions, the environment, the lighting, my costume, I thought it just added on to its creepiness. Which that actually was kind of hard when it came to me trying to do the voice, because I had to make sure I'm trying to follow it word for word on my lips, so I know it looks like I'm talking right. So what I did was, when it comes to the part where I'm on the phone, and I'm putting it down. I'm talking. Since I'm sitting on the floor and the camera's looking up at me, I actually have my laptop to the side. I'm controlling with my other hand because my hand's here. My other hand's on the floor controlling it. And every time I'm talking, I gotta call the police. I gotta call the police. And then I put it down. I'll hit the play button. And then that voice will happen, and I'm trying to copy it. You know, what do you think you're doing? And then I'll pause it, and I'll continue on, and I'll keep repeating that. And then, so that took care of me mouthing the words, because I'm hearing it, and I'm copying it as I'm talking, and I'm trying to do the right facial expressions. So when it came to editing, I just cut out the whole sound for that scene, and then I put the voice into it. And I thought that was pretty effective because it looked like I was really talking. But I had to give my thanks to Patrick Ferguson, because to me, his voice made that film. It made Mrs. Bates. I mean, sure, I might have had the look for her, but I gotta give it to him because the voice was way better than what I think I did. So yeah, so to me that's gonna be the end of anything I'm gonna do Psycho related. Because I thought I established a pretty good movie. Cause this is my first full movie I've ever tried, and I thought it was pretty good. So I'm hoping in the future I can do more longer movies like Psycho. So again, I'm so thankful for Patrick's help. I'm very thankful for all the people who watched it and enjoyed it, and who comment saying they like it. Just knowing that people were entertained and they loved it or liked it. That's all that matters to me. Just as long as people liked it.
Hi there, Patrick Ferguson, aka Mr. Betty Kruger on YouTube. I was thrilled and very privileged to be a part of this particular Psycho, the beginning of the end. I guess it started, me and Chris Kerr, Horror 455, have done other projects and are doing other projects and stuff as a team, helping each other out. And this was just one of those things on the table that Mr. Kerr just kind of had, loosely in his mind, and then he kept going with it, just really thinking about it and really putting this together, because he loves Hitchcock, and I appreciate that because I love Hitchcock. Psycho, the original, was really the first slasher film. Some people think, oh, Nightmare on Elm Street, oh, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. No, keep pushing it back. Psycho. It was also one of the first films where the main character got it. I think in the first 20 minutes or so. I believe it was something like that. But so, Chris, he wrote some stuff. He sent me some ideas. Not a full script. Just some ideas at first. And I looked him over and gave my 2 cents. So in a way, I participated in helping, write a little bit of the final script. In a sense, he's like, well, what do you think would work better, A or B? I give my opinion. And then right off the bat, he was going to have Grandma Bates, in it. But obviously, not as an actual person, but kind of in Norman's mind, or not Norman's mind, in Nathan's mind, or you go either way with it. Is it in his mind, or was it her ghost, or it's all up to the viewer, I think. But when we talked about it, and I loved the idea of me voicing her. I am a little sick at the moment. Talking a mile here. I am a little sick at the moment, but I played with it. It's like, oh, how would I do that? Oh, my Nathan. sort of, just messed with it, leave my poor Nathan alone. I just played with it, and then finally I recorded something that I liked and I thought was substantial enough to use. So I sent it, and Chris agreed with me that it was very well done. And I loved seeing it in the final product. I watched the movie vigorously. I've been showing some people who live with me as well. And, they've liked it. But anyway, that said, I love Hitchcock. I love Anthony Perkins as an actor. He was in all the original Psychos. He's kind of like Robert Englund. AKA Freddy Krueger. He stuck with it. He loved it. Mother! But it's, I think this movie, not only as just an independent film, but just as a film in general, was really great. And it's fun to see, Chris Kerr play all those characters. That was fun. It was almost, like to me, it reminded me very much of an Eddie Murphy thing, like in The Nutty Professor, just in a whole different genre, So Chris Kerr is a very fine actor, and I can't wait to work with him more. I know Playthings is coming up. I'll be in that. I think Locked In 2, hopefully I'm not giving this away before he does, is coming up soon, and I can't wait to work with him more. And if you're sitting there and you're thinking, man, this stuff that these guys do is just mad. Well, we all go a little mad sometimes. Patrick Ferguson,